In His Voice podcast, hosted by me, Rob L. Lowe, where we talk about the trials, the tribulations, and life experiences that deeply impact the lives of boys and men without ever bashing women. We talk about everything from the bedroom to the boardroom, from the playground to the stadium, and everything in between. So let's get started. Let's get it in. So today's topic, it's been a while. I actually haven't done a podcast in several months. And this is my new studio. I'm shooting a podcast from my apartment in Los Angeles. My other studio was in my house in Orlando. And since February, actually since early April, I've been out here in Los Angeles. I work and I travel back and forth between here and Florida. And so, you know, I finished a book last year. I did a book tour. I did some motivational speaking. And then this company called me. It was a wonderful job opportunity for me to come out here and live in LA. And this is my first time ever living on the West Coast. Now, my family comes out here and I go home. I've worked out here before, but only on projects. And I had sites that I supported with different organizations. So I would come out here for days or maybe a week at a time. But never, ever have I had an address out here. So this is all new. But I'm here. I'm in, I would say, sunny LA, but I learned the hard way. There's this period called May gray and June gloom. And so these 2 months coming out here, it's cold for me. I live in Florida where it's 95, 96 degrees right now. And the high the last couple of weeks is like 69, 71, but it drops down to the 50s at night. But that's neither here nor there. So I want to talk to you on today's episode about, man, life on the go. And more importantly, the challenges and the joys of relocating to different cities. So I was at breakfast today. I had breakfast at a place here in LA called Silver Spoon. So if you ever get a chance to go check it out, I met the owner, fabulous woman. Food's fantastic. But this is my 13th city in 30 years. 13th city that I lived in 30 years. And this is the 5th time that I've had to have an address different than my home address where my family stayed. And people always ask me, how do you do it? How do you live a life where you're away from your family all the time? And if you weren't living the way you traveled. So in another job, I was gone 80% of the time. I was the global vice president of HR. I've been to places for work alone. I've been to Belgium. I've been to Amsterdam. I've been to Spain. I've been to London. I've been to Austria. I've been to Sweden. I've been to Costa Rica. I've been to Mexico. I think I said Mexico, and maybe somewhere else that I just forgot. And that's all just for work. That doesn't include just leisure travel. But what I would tell you is, from a family standpoint, life on the go, it has its ups and downs for sure, because I spend a lot of time by myself, a lot of time by myself. And there's no doubt about it, I miss my family. I miss my wife. I miss the girls. My daughters are like just truly amazing. I love them. And then for those that know me, I have 2 sisters and some nieces and nephews in Indianapolis. And I miss my sisters. Working there for a couple of years, I got to see her a lot, both of them. But now I'm way out on the West Coast. It's, 5 hours flight, 3-hour time difference. And so it's not hard. And so you have to make the most of it. And so what do? Given the fact this is my 5th time having to do it, I always look for things to do when I get to a new city, things that I think my family and friends would enjoy when they come out. So I go look for adventurous things, what's the outdoor stuff, what's a cool trend. I found a place out here in California that everyone knows about. It's called the Culver City Stairs. And so I took my daughter, I took my wife there. It's a hill climb. It has a little trail, but if you take the steps, it's like 282 steps straight up. And people go out there every week. Some people do it multiple times a week as part of their workout, and they go up and down the stairs. It is no joke, because it's not just regular stairs. These are like concrete blocks that are not spaced appropriately. And so it's a hike just getting up the stairs. I also look for really cool restaurants. Like I went to Silver Spoon. I've been to Pan's for breakfast. One day I'm going to make it down to Long Beach. Shout out to Liz for putting me on the Long Beach, her and Helena. I'm I'm going to go down to Louisiana Charlie's. And then if you know me, you know my hobby is cigars, right? And so I found a couple cool spots. Shout out to Drobe Cigar Lounge in Inglewood. I'm a member. Guys, thank you for bringing me in. I super appreciate it. But also, I've been to the other cigar lounge in Inglewood. I've been to the cigar lounge in El Segundo. Great vibe. I've been to the one in Long Beach. And so they're really, really cool. But cigar lounges in California are very different than cigar lounges in Florida. And even in Houston. So in Houston, you have a lot of cigar lounges. You got some that'll bring your own bottle. And then you got some like the one out in Humboldt that is like just dope. It got a DJ, it got a bar, they got, waitresses and waiters. It's a whole vibe, right? A whole vibe. In LA, they're mostly cigar lounges. Like they're mostly gentlemen lounges. They have some women in there, but it's generally, holds about 20, 30 people. People sit around, they have TVs, they watch sports, they talk, they smoke cigars. I've only been to one that actually has a bar. So shout out to Drobe, but it's a members only. So that might be the reason why. But, if you go to a cigar lounge in Florida, and I may drop a video in right here just so you can see, for instance, what happens on it was Memorial Day in Tampa at Cigars International in Tampa. The cigar lounges, it's just a different vibe because it's a cigar culture, right? So in Florida, if you go to Orlando, you go to Corona, just downtown. If you want to see a vibe, if you want to see people, you want to people watch, it's near all the clubs. You better get there early on the weekends if you want to get a seat outside. You can do Sand Lake. You can go to the Executive out in Sanford. It's on the water. It's a beautiful view. Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Man, there's just so many. Shout out to Mike Brown. But every place that I've been to in Florida, for the most part, it's a vibe, right? Corona in Tampa on the West End. You go downtown to Ybor City. Even in Indianapolis, y'all. Indianapolis. I'm in L.A. I live in Orlando. I've been to Houston. Houston, mad vibe. Shout out to my line brother, Sean. Bro, I appreciate you. Shout out to my girl, Simone down there, piloting for United, doing amazing things, and all the other ISU alumni and all my friend Debbie, Kojo, everybody to my people. Shout out to my peoples in Houston. But Indianapolis surprised me, right? I'm from Indianapolis, if you know that. I left, back in 1995, and then I had to move back because of a job. And so I was pleasantly surprised that Indianapolis was developing a cigar culture. And so, Will, if you see this, shout out to my man, Will, owner of Havanas and Jovitos. Havanas is in Fishers, Indiana, Northwest Indianapolis. Man, Sunday brunch, vibe, food, like not just food, like great food, lamb chops. So you can get a cigar, you can get lamb chops, you can get steak, whatever you want. And it's in the summertime, like just that's where you want to be. Burns on a Friday, Saturday night, it's like a club. Like, during the All-Star weekend, the ticket to get in Burn was probably $200-$300 because it's part of the culture there. And then you got the classic one off of, I think it's Meridian. I can't remember the name, but you guys know. And then you got Sticks. And then you got the one downtown where you go in the basement. I can't remember the name, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And so life on the go for me is finding things that when I get to a new city that I really can enjoy, that I can vibe with, things that when people come to visit me, that they would enjoy, my family, my daughters, my sisters, my friends. And then, I do like to find a nice live spot, but I'm different, right? So I like to go find a spot that's not just, where I got to worry about ducking and fighting and all that, but a cool spot that's kind of maybe a hole in the wall, great music, older crowd, mature crowd. But I ain't trying to be in there, with them fellas who in there with their canes and them pimp suits, or the ladies with the big hats, man, and they want to talk about their doctor's appointment from earlier that day. So yeah, I ain't trying to feel that. But here in California, here in LA, I usually hit Pips on La Brea on Sunday if I have time, and that's probably my spot. Some other people say Melodies. I've heard the District. I've heard GS. I've been to the District. Wasn't really my thing, but it was cool. It was great stuff. But I've only been here 2 months, so there's a lot more to see. And I will tell you this. One of the reasons I've been so successful in my career is because of my willingness and my lack of fear to move and travel. And if I could give any advice to anybody, if you have a dream, chase your dream. You can always go home. That's the best advice. You can always go home. But you don't ever want to wake up one day and go, what if? And I hear this a lot. I know some of you are saying, but I don't have any family there. I don't have any friends there. I'm going to do another podcast on the definition of family for me, because it might be different for me than what it is for you. That might be my next podcast. But what I'll tell you is traveling will teach you so many things about yourself. I'm going to do a podcast on that one too. Traveling will teach you so many things about yourself. And then the idea about family, if family loves you, unless they're sick and disabled, then they'll come see you too. If family aren't willing to come see you, then you have to ask yourself, then how important are you to them? If everything you worry, if only thing you worry about is how can you get to family, I want you to think about what might you be giving up for that. I'm not saying family's not important. It absolutely is. But I love families that travel together. I love families that look to experience things together maybe they've never done before. I'm always envious of families that take family reunions and they take them in different cities, or they take them on cruise ships, or they do a trip somewhere and rent an Airbnb. I think that's pretty dope. So listen, that's how I do it. Life on the go. I'm here in LA. I live in Florida. I'm from Indianapolis, but I've lived in Dallas twice, Minneapolis twice, Louisville, Kansas City, Shreveport, Memphis, South Bend, Indiana, Gainesville, Florida. I live in Orlando now. Gainesville, Florida. I've lived in Boca Raton, Florida, and there's probably something else that I'm missing, right? And so I will tell you, every place that I live has taught me something about myself to help make me a better man. And because of that, I generally don't have a whole lot of fear. But thank you. And by the way, you'll see these are shorter podcasts because it's me by myself. A lot of the feedback I got last year is like, Rob, people just want to hear from you. Talk about your life. And so welcome back. It's 2004. I'm glad to be back on. Check out the new crib. I'll see y'all next time on the next In His Voice podcast. Take care. I'll holler at you. God bless.